Hello, everyone, and welcome to the newest episode of the Watchpoint show. This time it's the March episode, and the main topic is going to be the World Cup. With me as guest, Slays, Sir Gibson,
Hello.
Oh,
Jörgeli.
hello there.
Okay, so as always, we all oh my god, terrible start as usual. As always, we start talking about the events in the last month of Swiss Overwatch, and then we can start with the actual juicy topics. So, this month there should have been the Noetic Cup. It unfortunately didn't happen because only 2 teams signed up. Jörgeli, do you think this is a bad sign for Swiss Overwatch, or?
I think it's mixed because it shows that the organizations are willing to organize stuff and help the community to grow. And bad to the part that we don't have enough teams at the moment. I think that will change after the World Cup because usually a World Cup is such a hype event that a lot of people start or get interested in joining teams. Mostly teams that already exist, but they are more willing, in my opinion.
Yeah, talking with the organizers, unfortunately, yes, they decided for this date, and there were the ongoing tryouts for the World Cup, and many of the players were not able to participate. Oh, Slays, your camera just turned off.
Turned off? What?
Yeah, it disappeared.
Oh.
Technical problems, everyone.
We love it.
Yeah. But sorry, right away, don't worry.
I can still see myself in your video, Ninja, so
Okay.
it gave up maybe.
Maybe.
Wait, I'm gonna reload it then, but
Sure, you can
can
rejoin
still
it and
see
then.
my face.
Yeah. You know what, Gibson, do you have any insights on the players that played in the World Cup and if they were interested in participating in the Noetic Cup or if they were just too busy to do it?
I actually have no idea. I mean, like most of the player. Wait, I'm thinking, what was the Noetic Cup again? That was the one with the show match, right?
Noetic did organize a show match, but that was separate from the cup.
Oh, okay.
The cup was taking place from the 27th to the 1st, the qualifiers, and then there will be finals the 15th in Fribourg.
Oh. To be honest, I'm not really that informed about the Noetic Cup. But
Okay.
Going back to the question about if players have the time, I'm not really sure because we're scrimming every night. So I don't know if they have time to actually practice for the cup or even participate. But who knows? Maybe they'll find the time somehow.
I heard that. I mean, the other team was made by Chris, so I assume she found the time. But we all know how passionate Chris is with Overwatch, so she's probably an exception and not the rule. Anyway, Slay's cam is back. Hopefully everything is working now. Yeah. I do agree. It's unfortunate this Noetic Cup didn't happen. It's unfortunate the timing was not perfect, but Noetic is still motivated to help with stuff, and they are still planning to organize tournaments. So hopefully the Overwatch World Cup will not ruin the next ones. Anyway.
If they do, we give you the fault.
Me or the other two?
The other two.
Okay. Usually you always blame
Hey,
me.
who said that I'm gonna be part of it next year?
Anyway, another
Finger.
yeah, finger. Another event that is gonna happen is the Polylan that I will participate. Lavenna is organizing a lot of events, so if you're interested and you're going, do contact her. She will surely give you all the information you need. And also Slays will be there, but not entirely for Overwatch. But if you want to talk about what you do, sure.
Yeah. Well, I'll be hosting and managing the main stage. We're doing some stuff for the animation on Saturday, and on Sunday and Monday we have the grand finale of the tournaments. So I'll be strolling from the main stage to the LAN zone and hanging around. So I can be seen pretty much anywhere. But yeah, on Friday it's quite chill. But on Saturday we're starting to have some stuff on stage because this year we wanted things to be a bit different and add a bit more content beside the general tournament and animations that we've been having for the past few years. So yeah, stay tuned.
Nice. And hopefully in the next years, Overwatch will be one of the main feature tournaments.
I wish.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But with that, I think we can close the topic of the Swiss events. Unfortunately, the month was quite uneventful. Stuff hopefully will change. And let's get to the real big topic, the Overwatch World Cup. Before starting with anything, I do want to have a quick shout out. The Overwatch World Cup team is looking for volunteers. They're looking for people to helping out in moderation, with content creators, assistance coach, video editors, etc. If you're interested in any of the things you see on screen right now, you can type. You see the comment. You can type it in chat, and you will get the link to the form where you can submit if you want. Oh yeah, Chris is spamming it.
Come help me, please.
Yeah.
I need help.
Which kind of help?
Mental.
With that, we can start talking about the committee members. We have two of them here tonight. Slays will be the general manager and Gibson the head coach. So if you want to quickly go over what you do and why you're qualified to do it, please do.
I am currently overseeing the fact that we are going to play against this team of Spain. I have the lobby on the side screen. So I'm acting as the mother in charge of all the kids. That's general manager. So I'm organizing the scrims, managing the schedules, and trying to see, well, Gibson does the hard work. The Kate that is not present with us here tonight is the social lead. So handling the lovely images that you've seen with Chris, that's helping out a lot. She's not officially part of the committee, obviously, as she's a player that we're trying out, but she's helping with the visuals. So
Graphic
that's a
design.
big help. Yeah, because at the moment we're still searching for people that can do the visuals, and as she had the time to, she was like, hey, let's go, let's help. Because we obviously all have work or studies on the side. So yeah, I'm basically monitoring the screams and trying to see how everything goes out. And I will now let Gibby do his coach work and explain to you how he's putting those players in shape.
Well, I mean, like, my job is, I wouldn't say complex, but fairly a lot, I guess. I'm currently overseeing all the trials, trying to see who's the best and who's fitted out for, like, who's the best and who's fitted out for the team, basically. And then at the end of the day, or at the end of the phases, the committee and we all make a decision on who stays and who leaves. Throughout scrims, I usually give a few tips to see if they can change their playstyle, to see how adaptable they are, to see what synergies work best, to see how well they work together and how well they perform against other teams. We've done a lot of internals right now, and that helped me with actually also figuring out who was fitted for the team and who wasn't. And why I'm qualified for this job, I mean, like, I'm not really qualified for it, but I do have
he's doing a great job.
I do have some knowledge about the game, team comms, and everything, since I had a lot of experience in contenders and high level scrims as well as the World Cup last year. So I wouldn't say I'm the best coach there is, but I'm trying my best at least. I guess that counts. And yeah, we'll see. We'll see if we make it. I hope so. I think we have good chances if everybody stays disciplined and stays focused. I think we have some decent chances to win to actually get second place in the wild card. Because logically, seeing Finland is way too strong. But yeah, maybe we can get qualified.
We'll surely mention it later, but for now I'll go over the players real quick. Of course, not talking about every single player, but I'm showing it on screen right now. The top 18 players that were picked at the start. Was there? How did you approach picking those 18 players?
Well, we all sat together, and we just basically looked at who had the best experience, who was not the highest rank, but who had like a fairly decent rank as well.
And we checked Overwatch 1 and 2 experience. So, because the ranks are a bit odd, let's say, on Overwatch 2. So we checked on with Overwatch 1 ranking, what were the experiences, because we had over 30 players that applied, and we didn't have much time. with Blizzard and the schedules. They were supposed to announce much earlier, and then they were like, "Oh, okay, we start the tryouts now, and you have up until this date, and hey, enjoy." So we were supposed to have more time to communicate things. So it got a bit tough, and we had to make a quick choice on which players we should actually try out because we don't have that much time. Most of the players also, I mean, they're all studying or have a job, so we can't be like, well, tryouts at 2 p.m. this afternoon. Like you can only do it during the night, and there's a limitation to what you can do. It's a 5v5 game. So we know some people have been disappointed not to have been taken in, but I mean, we had to make choices, unfortunately.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Wasn't easy choices as well. I'll just
Yeah.
put that in.
of course. And already the first stage of the tryouts has already gone by. Now there is only 13 players that are left able to be picked, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I'm showing the names on screen. And don't know, do you have anything that you want to say about how you went to decide why some players were not fit? Of course, not going into details.
Well, I mean, like the most important things that we did was obviously compare everybody with each other to see who had the best performance in scrims, who had the best synergy with each other, who had the best inputs to the game. And then after carefully analyzing most of the VODs as well, we came to the conclusion that we had to cut 5 players. And that's how we came to the conclusion of the top 13 and who's going to make it next. And then for phase 2, we have to say goodbye to 6 players, so that's going to be even harder. And yeah, we're gonna probably do this. We're gonna probably take the same approach there as well. Look at the VODs, look who performed the best, look who basically, yeah,
And there's
is
also a lot of
best for the
impact on the communication.
yeah.
Like apart from the gameplay, I mean, the communication is very important because you have some players that are really good as a single person, but in a team, if they can't bring as much as someone that is mechanically a bit less good, but that can compensate because it's easier to learn mechanics than communication for some. So we
Mm-hmm.
also have to estimate which progression a player can have,
Mm-hmm.
and we will have to make a choice anyway. And like the people that we don't choose, it's not that they're bad, is that some people were more suited to play together because that's also what we're testing. It's the synergies, who communicates the best with the team, and how you can work around that. Because for example, you can have any role, like if the person just plays like it's solo queue, and like if they're not communicating with everyone, it's like I'm just gonna ult and let's go. Well, the person can be like the best healer in the world when you look at the rank itself, but then you're like in a team, it's not very efficient. So that's also a lot of factors that we have to take into account. Even if you're mechanically less good, where are you in communication? And the other way around as well, like how can you compensate? We also like to see the progression of players, because some players, like they've been working hard on the tryouts, and you can see a difference between the different tryouts. So that's actually lovely to see too. So it's not like they've been playing exactly the same since the very tryout that we've done with them. So it's also good to see who can listen or not, or take into account some comments and adapt, because that's what's best for the team and not best for one person or what you may want to. So that's also some points that we're looking at.
Yeah, and talk about the points and people that you've been looking at. Are there any surprise names that have come up? Like we know the Swiss scene and we know some of the all-time great players and the familiar faces, but are there any new talent that has been exciting this selection?
Well, the I'll say for each rank, I guess.
Sure.
The not each rank. I mean to each role. I mean, like the player that is impressing me the most right now on tank is Saddam. He's doing pretty well. He has like, how do you say? He has very good qualities and good overall game knowledge,
And
and
the communication too.
Mhm.
I really liked it.
And I think he can actually. Sorry.
That's fine. Go ahead.
And I think he can actually be a good addition to the team. But obviously, there are 2 more players which are also really good. Mr. Fish has shown a lot of improvement as well as Swako. They're doing really well. For DPS, I have to say the player that stood out the most to me was Kaiko. He impressed me a lot lately because I didn't really know him that well, and when I played against him back in the years, I wouldn't have said he was that strong. No offense, just being real. But he actually really showed up at scrims. He popped off a lot of times.
And he's been taking into account all the comments as well.
Yeah.
When I was talking about the aspect of listening and not just doing whatever you feel like that's better. Because even if the coach might be wrong sometimes, it could happen. No one's perfect. Well, Gibby's mostly right most of the time, but you never know. If you go against a direction because you feel like, I mean, it's always easier to debrief it afterwards and ask like, wow, why was it the decision that you made? Because I thought, and then you can discuss it. And that's something like I used to play competitively in a team in 2016 when the game first came out. And that's something that we had to put in the team and to actually discuss was like, if you have any comment, you debrief it. You don't argue during the game or even at the beginning before it starts. I mean, because you lose time and the concentration of the whole team. And I like how they just like go with the flow and be like, okay, they discuss less and less Gibby's decisions, even if sometimes they're like, yeah. And I like that Kaiko just like he really popped off, but he also listens a lot and tries to work on himself and based on the comments that were made. So that's also a good thing.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, like, then we also have Ace and Pendrix, who are obviously 2-star players playing really well as well. Barcode has been popping off as well, too. He's been showing up a lot. And wait, I don't forget who else is there. Oh, yeah, Jin. Shit.
Lovely.
Jin has also been playing really well lately. I feel like he's holding back a bit too much, in my opinion. He could be doing way more. He has a lot of potential, but I feel like he's not giving it his all in scrim, which is sad to see. But all in all, he's really good. And when it comes to supports, that's extremely difficult because everybody's really good. So I think choosing the supports will probably be the toughest decision out of all 3 roles because everybody's on the same level. There's some who pop off on some days, and there's some other ones who pop off on the other days. That's going to be pretty difficult to choose from. So I have to see how that evolves for the next week. We'll see in trials how they do. But yeah, I would say all in all, everybody's performing really well. Nobody's inting, except for Pendrix when he picks Genji sometimes. But nonetheless, pretty good.
Which role would you say is the strongest at the moment at the roster?
Tank for 100%. Oh, you mean like of our roster or in general in Overwatch?
Just our roster. Like the Swiss server.
Nothing.
I'd say DPS. DPS is the strongest for us at the moment because they have the most experience out of the other people.
That's nice. I didn't expect you guys to go so much in detail with the players, but I'm glad to hear it. If you're one of the people that have been nominated as the good players, congrats. If you've not, now you know, work on it and get picked. Still doable.
In the worst case, they will complain in our DM and we can explain it again, so you know.
Yeah. As long as they don't complaining on Twitter.
Oh, I mean, that's fine. No. Public execution are lovely too.
Oh, God.
Just see a sweet Gibbs is an idiot. They're like, oh yeah, you did this wrong.
I mean, like, I know
if you're asking for feedback in public, you will get it in public. That is fine by me. Yeah, as mentioned in the chat, some people have imagined that the feedback was different, I guess.
Yeah. We'll not go into detail on that, but
yeah.
But we can talk about the goals of the team. So, as a committee, what are your plans and what are you working hard for the team?
I mean, like, the main objective right now is to pass the wild card and make it to the World Cup in the first place. I'd say that's literally our only objective at the moment because realistically seen, our group stage is extremely difficult we're against Sweden, we're against Saudi Arabia, which is we're against Norway. I mean, like the teams which would be beatable are maybe Poland. Wait, I need to check. I need to check again. Fuck. Give me a second.
No worry.
We are very up to date, as you may see.
Yeah.
My bad.
No worry.
No, but
no
we
worries.
have an assistant coach also that's going to be like while he's searching, I'm filling in.
Of course.
We have an
We will be
assistant coach that
announced
is going to join us soon, and we will announce him pretty soon.
Ooh,
So that's going to
he's-
be helping a lot. Because, I mean, as a coach, Gibson is the person that is working the most because he has to check all the posts, because sometimes, like tonight, for example, even like if I have the players on the side, we can't really look at them properly. So
course.
he's gonna take the time to check the post of each players to see what they could have done best and analyze it. So he's spending quite a lot of time on that. So if you want to sponsor him, come friends. We're also discussing with sponsors that we might be able to announce soon. We'll see. The only thing I can say in the meantime is that Dash Studio is working on our jerseys, and they've done quite a few jerseys for some esports structures in Switzerland. And so we're gonna have some pretty new banger jerseys for the team.
Glad to hear. Yeah,
Oh yeah. So getting back to the
He's
teams.
back.
We're
After this
against.
publicity.
I mean, if you want, we can run an ad real quick.
Ooh, let's go.
Watchpoint Show
Gosh.
brought to you by buy us and put your name up here. Anyway, you have the stage, Gibson.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, we're against Germany, Norway, Poland, Saudi, Sweden, Turkey. Those are the teams which are selected for the Overwatch for the World Cup in our group. And then in the wild card, we're against Finland and United Arab Emirates. And the thing is, in the wild card, we have a pretty decent chance of making it. I don't really know who's on the UAE team, but if we give it our all, we might have a decent shot. We might even beat Finland. Who knows? Let's hope. And then in the group stage, yeah, I mean, like all teams are extremely difficult to play against, except Poland, because I don't really know anybody from Poland who, like, yeah, I don't really know anybody from Poland in the Swiss scene, except for maybe FIFA Lek, but he's a hog. What I don't know. Who knows? Yeah, Saudi's gonna be hard. Like you all know why. Sweden is also probably gonna be very difficult. Depends if even if Kevster plays. Turkey, we scrimmed against them. Who went pretty well. Maybe we have a shot against them. Who knows? Maybe they'll be even stronger once they come back. Norway is maybe beatable. I don't know. I don't know the roster that well, but there are a lot of good players from Norway. And Germany, same as Norway, beatable. A lot of good players. I don't know who's going to be on the end team. So I guess if we give it our all, we have a decent shot everywhere. I mean, it just comes down to who wins more. So.
Yeah, and since we already mentioned a couple of times the wildcard challenge, for the viewers that are not completely up to date with it, when does it happen and what's the format? Like, how do we advance?
So we don't have the exact dates yet of everything. They
Blizzard
were
moment.
supposed to be released this week.
Blizzard
And we're
moment.
still missing some information.
Nice.
But basically, for the World Cup, 36 countries have been chosen that will battle in June. No proper dates still. And the top 16 will later on play in a physical LAN in California, probably in Irvine in one of the center. And those are the 36 main countries that have a stronger Overwatch community with stronger players, more players too. And they still wanted to offer some countries a chance. So they created a wildcard challenge where you basically have group phases and the top 2 of each group is going to pass. And Switzerland, as a tiny country, even if we do have good players, I mean, if you look in comparison to France, for example, in terms of amount of players and amount of good players, well, obviously. So we have to battle out to go into the first 36 countries, or go with them and fight with them. And they have to announce their rosters to pretty soon. I think they had to submit it to Blizzard like Or they have to submit it like in 2 days, something like that. I don't know if they already have made all the announcements, but so they have to submit it earlier than us. We have until 10th of April, or we can have an extension until the 17th of April to have our finalized roster. Then Blizzard is gonna background check. And so if a player is problematic, Blizzard will be like, nope. So we also have to take that into account in the selection, something that we missed to say. And I mean, because we could select a player and technically Blizzard could say no. So that's also something that we have to think of. And then I guess late April, beginning of May, as the top 36 plus the qualified from the wildcard are supposed to play in June. I would say that at the latest middle of May, the wildcard challenge has to take place. That will leave a month between giving the roster to Blizzard, having them validate it, announce it officially, and actually play the challenge. So that seems fair, because then if we finish the wildcard challenge, we'd have between 2 to 3 weeks to prepare and have to battle for the technically qualifier to go to the top and be maybe part of the top 16, which might be tough, to be honest, but we can try. We can try. Some countries have pro players, and I know that's something that we will talk about later about the state of Overwatch. And let's not forget that in Switzerland, esports is very complicated because we are very much behind in terms of sponsorship and investment. Also, the cost of life is way higher. So it's much easier to have pro players in France, as it costs a lot less to have a full team. So lots of countries, they can actually have pro players that can play 12 hours a day. Whereas in Switzerland, we can't. So I wouldn't say that we have less chances because our players are worse. It's just that our players don't have the same amount of time that they can actually spend on the game because they're not paid to play. So we'll see. We do have a chance, obviously, but we gotta see.
We surely appreciate the honesty of Switzerland being one of the dark horses of the underrated teams to have to fight uphill to get a spot.
You're the underdog. You can only surprise people. I mean, it's not like people have any expectations. So that's the thing. You just play and you do your best. And in the worst case, people will be like, you tried and you did your best, and that's good. When you have other countries that have much more pressure, when you see the pro players that they have, like, it's unthinkable that it would do bad. And I would much rather be the dark horse or the underdog than the upper dog, because that's a position that is very not comfortable. Because if you fail, people are not going to pat you on the shoulder and be like, oh, well, you did your best. They're going to be like, ha ha, you are terrible. So that's also something that is very hard mentally. And then when you see even like France, like they announced their coaches the other day, and like they have a whole football team of coach and assistant coach on the team, and you're like, okay.
Yeah, the good thing is also the casters do acknowledge that, because there were already some matches where the casters even said, yeah, we don't have, we have to remember, these are people that still study or work the whole day and then go to scrimming at night. So everybody's aware of that in the world.
I'm checking the list of topics, but I think we covered most of it. Actually, since I'll just ask a quick
Speed playing it.
Yeah, just incredible live. So we'll be done in 40 minutes.
Speed running.
Yeah. Since you mentioned your Switzerland is screaming against Spain,
Yeah.
Are they playing well?
Oh, they're playing right now.
So they just got wiped at the moment on a team fight, so that is not exactly the best moment to ask for it. But they did pretty well on Legion Tower just earlier. Good. And now they're on King's Row. And as you know, Ramatra is a bit of a painful character. So we're attacking on King's Row, and there's 1 minute left to cap the first point. And, well, the enemy team used quite a lot of ults. And as you know, Ramatra's ult is like, hi, you dead. Exist near me, and that's fine. So yeah, they didn't leave it well, but we're testing the composition. At the moment, we have a mirror composition. So we're playing Hanzo, Mei, Bap, Lucio and Ram, and the Spain team has exactly the same team. So that's really funny to see how they're playing it also. But yeah, Lijiang was more balanced in King's Row at the moment.
Okay. At least there
Ooh,
is.
I'm getting begged by the coach to invite him.
Oh.
Arr.
At least there is some competition between the teams, and it's
Yeah. And it's interesting because I mean that's also something that we wanted to be important because at first I could feel that in the first tryouts, like we forced some composition because we have to see the current meta and to where the meta is headed. And they were like, but I don't want to play that. Oh, we're getting wrecked. And some players had issues understanding the scrims and the tryouts are not about winning all the games. It's about testing synergies. I mean, if you're going to lose all the games, that is fine. That's not what we're looking at. It's not like, you lost your game? Not interesting to us. Oh, you couldn't do as best as you could on your OTP character? We don't care. So that's also something that we have to be conscious of. Because at first, like I felt some players were very disappointed. They were like, "Oh, but it's not going so well. We're not winning," and like, we don't care. You're trying to test the synergy, to test the characters, see how comfortable you're with it, and we're looking at so many more aspects than just win or lose situation. Because to actually win, you have quite a lot of factors to take into account before even reaching that point. So yeah, I felt that some people were demotivated after the very first tryouts when we were up against some teams, sometimes like 4K 5 teams that I used to play together. So they know how to communicate together, they know how to play, to synergize. And some of our team were like disappointed. And I was like, it's normal. I wouldn't expect you to wreck them. They're supposed to be good players and they know how to play together. So, for example, here for the team of Spain, I don't know like how long they've been playing together. I don't know if it's their final roster yet. Like,
No,
do they
probably
are
not.
they still gonna swap or not?
Judging by this, I don't think it's the final roster yet.
Mm-hmm. So also you don't know how well the players know one another, so it's always interesting to check. And so far, like, I really like how those tryouts are going because a lot of the players are really out of their comfort zone, and it's really interesting for me to observe how it's going. Like Gibby is much more precise in terms of tactics, and I'm much more interested on the mental side, like the communication and how a player behave. Because you can be the best player if there's one crisis and you just throw everything on the ground. We know some players like that. That's, I mean, you've played Overwatch. You have some players. You have one tiny mistake, one missed fight, and they're like, I give a bye, and they end.
Yeah.
That's not good. And it's also good to see in the face of adversity how do they behave. And actually like that when you see them get wrecked and see how they like, do they change, do they adapt the plan of game, how do they communicate about it, do they start to be petty, passive aggressive, or do they try to cheer the teammates? That's also interesting to see, like what's the side that's going to come out, and that's also very interesting. Ooh, both Lucio's dead.
They're actually playing pretty well in the defense, not lie.
They're doing better on defense than attack, for example. Here.
Good job. And since you quickly mentioned the heroes that people pick, are you mostly looking to play meta, or if the team welcomes some more off-meta comp to try to take the enemy teams off guard?
Well, at the moment,
Of course, don't spoil it for the enemy teams.
Yeah,
you can lie if you want.
I mean, like at the moment, we're focusing more on meta, and we're trying to like theory craft what the meta will become as well. We're trying a lot of different comps, a lot of different heroes, a lot of different freaky compositions. And since we have one OTP who likes really playing one character, I kind of have to try and make him play that character. He's gonna go mentally insane. Hendrix. Yeah, we're trying a lot of stuff, and we're trying to figure out what works best in terms of like synergy and just overall winning chances and just execution as well. I won't go into more detail, but there are some ups and downs in each comp. So at the moment, we're still trying to figure out what's best.
Of course.
Definitely, yes. And as Gibby said, as we have to anticipate the meta and how it might go, because Blizzard and having meta change right in the middle of a big competition name a more iconic duo. So that's also something to take into account. I mean, they do that in all the games. It's like releasing a Hearthstone patch right before the huge Master Tour or Grandmasters, and you're like, hey, let's try something. So that's also something that we have to look at because, I mean, we can't be like, oh, we've worked only those composition. Well, enjoy.
Junkrat meta incoming.
It'll be cool. I mean, like the new heroes coming out soon, and we're all kind of worried that that's gonna become meta. So
Yeah.
Better pick a good support then.
Yeah, don't worry. That's the problem. We have a lot of good supports. But I don't even know what the new hero is gonna be like. So I don't have any knowledge
And I think
on that topic.
this could be a
Sorry.
good transition into the next topic, unless someone else has something they want to add about the Overwatch World Cup or any question from Jörgeli.
Nope.
Hope Swedes.
Upshades.
It's
Beaver.
Canada.
What? Okay. Anyway, yes, we can talk. Let's talk first about season 4, since it's gonna take place the 11th or 10th of April, I think.
It's the 11th.
Okay,
As I remember
yeah,
right.
you're more informed than me.
It's usually the Tuesday.
Good point. And there's gonna be a new hero. There's gonna be a new game mode. Do we have any hopes for something we want to see?
I just want the game to be better.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, do you think the game is not good now?
I want them to fix the matchmaking.
Okay,
Yeah.
And
yes.
like, it's very peculiar. I mean, I've been playing Overwatch since the beta, and I've never had such weird matchmaking. Like, I've seen a lot of people complain about it, and until recently I didn't have a lot of time to actually play a lot of Overwatch 2. I mean, I haven't tried hard and much. Like as I told you the other day, like I passed master on multiple of my account on multiple roles, but like I haven't tried at higher level. But you always have those phases where no matter what you do, you will always have weird players. Let's say, let's be politically correct with you, and like for 10 games, it's gonna be a huge mess. No matter what you do, you could play your best. It's gonna be very complicated. And then for 10 games, like something really great happens, and you have people that play normally, that play normal characters, and that doesn't make sense. Because, I mean, if it's supposed to be random, it's weird, and there's a lot of people it's actually happening to. So I really wonder, like, because it seems like it's different from Overwatch 1, and I would very much be interested in looking at the code that they actually put in effect for this, because so many people, even pro streamers, have been complaining for a while. So we'll see. I already like that they changed that we only have to win 5 games to have an adjustment, because 7 games was so long. Like, come on.
I just want Overwatch 1 2018 back. That's all I want.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Ah,
I have the
Yeah.
feeling the matchmaking is made like some days you just lose everything and some days you just win everything, because I played like 47 games, and from that 47 games I lost like 12.
mhm.
And I just won like 4 in a row, lost one, won 4 again, and something like that, and never lost until one day where I just lost 5 at once. I think it's more like the matchmaking just chooses days where you just lose. I don't know how it's working right now.
Blizzard
Also on
as
the account sometimes. Like I have some accounts that are at exactly the same level. And like if I had a win streak on one account and it starts going sour, I would usually just go on the other account, and then it goes and I just play for my mental health between both. It's like
Just, like the thing that's the worst is just the hidden MMR. If they do a hidden MMR reset, then I think the game actually has a decent chance.
yeah.
Yeah, the beginning would be very chaotic, but it would turn out good in the end after
Yeah.
like a month.
It depends if it's a soft reset or a hard reset.
Hard reset.
Hard.
Yeah.
Hard.
Like, it's
Really
needed.
hard. Yeah,
Yes.
it is extremely needed because there are a lot of people in ranks that they shouldn't be in.
Yeah,
Mhm.
like I had some problems with plat tanks, but master tanks are easy as fuck. Like, I just roll over them. I don't get it
It's
why.
impressive. I mean, it's like it's very hard to actually get a good tank in a game. And like I'm climbing, but the tanks don't change. And the thing is, like they resetted the ranks, but not the MMR.
Yeah.
So I've like on some of my accounts I was master, and like they made me proc plats, but I was still playing with masters for my placement. And while I was plat, I was still playing with masters. So I'm like, I've been playing with the same people for 10, 15 ranks, and I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
And it's very weird. The tanks are very odd at the moment in the matchmaking.
Yeah, fortunately, the Asara reset is gonna go away in season 4. That's not gonna happen anymore. Luckily, because it was just having to play 10 more games to get back to your normal rank instead of ranking up from there. We've talked in basically every other episode, which is why it was not one of the topics in this one about matchmaking, etc. Because Blizzard has been making some small changes. We don't know what. They've said that we changed some stuff. They keep saying that we'll do it. Some stuff is supposed to come in season 4 to make it matchmaking better. I hope. We'll see.
I wish.
Yeah. But I want to address one comment that Zyra made in chat, saying that this meta feels like the most balanced meta Overwatch has ever had. I feel like that's pretty true. Do you also feel that way?
Yeah,
Season
we don't see
two-
only one comp,
Yeah.
at
Season
least.
2 to 5 was very balanced. Once Brig was included, then everything went downhill from there, to be honest.
If we talk about Overwatch 2,
If we talk about Overwatch 2, yeah, then
yeah,
for sure.
then yes. I agree. Also, the meta before Brick came, before Goats came, was also really balanced because there wasn't a similar state where you could just play everything.
Do we really have to mention the goat?
No, we're not archaeologists. We don't need to talk about like 2018, 19, 20.
It was, in my opinion, one of the most funniest metas to play as a Rhine main. So, but I understand the frustration behind it.
Oh, goats. Oh, I was feeling sorry. My bad. Yeah, it was 2018, I think, for like a solid year straight. Good method though. It was fun. I was sadly forced on break, but
That was fun at first, but then it got a bit boring.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm the only one that enjoyed it as the Rhine. Well, yeah.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
thank players had fun.
Yeah, we had. Yeah, but I think the momentary meta is like really good because like you can practically play everything. Besides, I think Diva is not as strong as she should be, and
Oh.
no, D was pretty strong.
Yeah, watching the Overwatch League Pro EM tournament, almost every tank is played. Some, of course, like Junker Queen, are not picked that much. But
Zarya.
yeah, Zarya not even. It feels
Zarya at
pretty
the very
balanced.
beginning was like overpowered, and now I see her less and less.
that's a
But
good
at the
thing.
beginning, it was only Zarya, and he was like zoom zoom everyone, and it's like, okay, I will bzz, bzz the shit out of you. I'm like, okay, hi.
Oh yeah, Hog is. Chris mentions that Hog is not good,
Oh yeah.
but
Oh,
that's
yeah.
that's good. No one wants
Hog is
Hog.
not bad actually. Like
Yeah.
all jokes aside, Hog, if
That-
he actually has a decent team, he's actually not bad.
Don't say that to the people in chat. I don't want to see Hog in comp anymore.
Spreading misinformation.
But you
Play
better
Hog.
have a good Kiriko on your side, because in solo queue, sometimes I've seen people pick Hog, and I'm like, if you don't have a Kiriko, I will nade you.
Yeah.
And I will nade you forever and ever and ever, and sleep you. And you will suffer.
As they deserve.
Yes,
Mhm.
definitely.
This is getting biased.
It's a bias. It's just like a strong opinion.
I was thinking you were gonna say the truth.
No, no. I'm not the high of an expert. Gibson could say that.
The truth about? Sorry.
A
I was
Hog
watching the screen.
a Hog player deserving suffering.
I mean,
Nah, They're easy to play around.
80% of players who play certain characters deserve suffering, to be honest.
True that.
I'm a Junkrat main.
Junkrat
Junkrat
is
Junk
fun.
match is love.
Yeah.
Junkrat
I'm
actually
sorry.
requires some decent amount of skill to actually perform pretty well.
And understand angles, geometry. How do this shit bounce? And then you're like, ugh.
I don't think that counts because you can just spam across the map and somehow get it.
No, it's
Yeah,
calculated.
that's just stressing people, and then they will. You know, it's like when you're in the street and you try to avoid someone and you move on the right side. I suspect some people to do the same with Junkrat's bomb. So they see it and they try to avoid it, but they go exactly the same direction of it.
Autopilot.
Yeah.
I think it's more like the Junkrat players take like a linear and so like, okay, if I spam it that way, it bounces there off, and if I did that, that correctly, it should land there, and this person has this walking speed of X, and so forth.
Yeah.
Oh shit, I'm dead.
Yeah. I am going to ETH so I can learn to make calculations faster just to play Junkrat better. That's
exactly.
That's my old plan.
That's a good future plan, like
Yeah.
for your future life. I mean, decent. I mean, when the world's going to crumble and it will be anarchy, you can try to find a group and say, you know, I'm very good at computing how to shit on you with Junkrat.
You know, I'm the best Junkrat in Switzerland. That's gonna be my post-apocalyptic title. Yeah.
Best
You
Junkrat
know,
in Overwatch.
dumbing down is not good. I'm sure there are pretty decent Junkrat in the world. In Switzerland, we don't play Junkrat.
Hello. No. Nah, but I like the what Zir Kick. I'm sorry if I said that wrong. What you said in chat, bring back scatter arrow. I swear to God, if that's in the game again, I'll be so happy. That was
Oh,
literally the
no.
most fun I had on Hanzo, just spamming it somewhere and it getting a kill.
When chatting Oriza.
No.
I have killed
Oh,
so many people randomly with this arrow. That was so fun.
Yeah.
Or when
That
you
was
would
so
see
good.
someone try to hide with very low HP and you would just angle it and be like, ha ha, we'll
Uh,
get you anyway.
You can still do that with Storm Arrow.
Yeah,
a bit
but
less
it's not as
efficient than before.
effective. That's the problem. The thing is,
Uh,
if you shoot scatter arrow a minute ago, you'll get a kill 2 minutes later somehow.
Yeah, but remember when you were boosted by Mercy and you would headshot someone?
Yeah,
Hehe.
that was good.
You could almost one-shot a tank at some point.
Mm.
Well, maybe the buff of if you hit the Sonic Arrow, the Storm Arrow will be drawn to the Sonic Arrow. That would be maybe helpful.
Oh my
You-
god, imagine you just have aimbot across the map.
Yeah, you mean the April
The
Fool's
April Fool's
patch?
one,
Yeah.
yeah.
Come in, Faria!
But I kind of want also the Orisa and the Reinhardt buff that they keep that, and the Zen one. That's also really fun, but it's like stupidly.
Mm.
I mean,
Thanks.
that patch is fun. I think some of the ideas are actually quite good, like the Widow headshots. That's
No,
I'm done.
I think it should just one shot.
But
What?
were you saying something, Gibson?
Wait, what were we
The-
talking about? Zen?
No, the April Fool's patch for Widow. When she headshots you, you don't take the all the damage instantly, but it gets dealt over time,
Ah,
like Anna, basically.
wait, I actually never heard that. That's
Uh,
cool.
it-
Yeah.
it's the April Fool's patch. I mean, some people cry about getting one-shotted. That way, they can maybe save themselves.
There they can
Okay.
there they can slowly suffer.
They can slowly suffer with the support that has no awareness that they are dying.
Where am I getting shot from?
But season 4, I think
Everyone dislikes, yeah. Chris is like, everyone dislikes one-shots.
All
Yeah.
non-tech players, like, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, if it's skilled, then yeah, I mean, like, I won't dislike it.
Yeah.
If it's just random spamming, then obviously I'll hate it. But if I'm like against a matchup which actually requires skill and you can one shot if you're actually skilled,
Mhm.
then yeah, I think one shots are good. But I mean, like, since Widow's kind of a complex character to like balance out one shotting, she's like her whole purpose is one shotting.
And
But
they
actually
added a
hitting the
lot
shot.
of stuff on the maps. It's
Mhm.
much harder to play as a sniper And I noticed it very recently because I was
Hmm.
like, oh, let's play Widow again. And I was like, why is there always so much shit lying around on the maps? I'm like, there's a bush I can't see. They added a tree there. Oh, there's a street lamp. Like they added so many props that make it actually a bit harder to play because you have to play around. You have to be careful where you stand. I mean, it's not just like I will stand across the map very far and just headshot everyone. It's like now you actually have a lot more stuff that is blocking you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing that people fail to realize, if you get one shot, it's nobody but your own fault. Like literally, because
No, that's the healer's fault apparently.
no, like that's what a lot of people say. But the thing is, like, you have so many countermeasures what you can do against one shots. If you just complain about it, you're not gonna get better at the game, are you?
Like
Yeah.
not walking in a straight line usually helps.
Yeah, or staying behind cover, or maybe
And-
swapping hero.
And not
Mhm.
jumping.
Yeah.
I used to love Doomfist when I had like the DPS version of it.
Yeah.
Like when there was a bothersome widow. I remember at the very end of Overwatch 1, I was just having fun with Doomfist. That was me saying my goodbye to him. And like
Rest
I
in peace.
messed with a widow and he added me and insulted me for a while. It was very funny. Because
Congrats.
he was a smurf and so like I mean you would pick one pixel and he would get you. And at some point I was like, is it aimbot or a very good smurf? And very good smurf. And then in the end I just decided to bully him with Doomfist. Now I have to bully them with Sombra. Because I can't
Sombra.
out widow them, so I just like putu hi
Yeah.
and just one click them.
I think if someone complains about one shots, it was more because of the Sojourn, because her was like she had a close to mid range good matchup, and the long range she had a one shot if she has a fully charged beam, like a truly charged
Railgun.
ray gun, yeah. And that was like the stupid stuff about her. And
The thing is, you require skill to actually hit that shot. That's the thing.
yeah, I agree, but trying to hit the shot on close range is way easier. Even I managed to do it, and I have tank aim, so
Oh,
Wait,
fair
not
enough.
tank aim. Rhine aim.
yeah, right aim, even worse. The only things that I hit is fire strikes.
Why, that's not easy. So
Oh no, that's easy. That's easy. Trust me.
I beg to differ. No.
I think with
Well,
that,
it's practice, I think.
we can just quickly go over the state of the game. Slade's already mentioned a bit the general state of Swiss esports, and we can quickly mention the state of Overwatch in the Swiss ecosphere. Sure,
Tragic.
that's a good word.
Yeah,
Yeah, tragic is another
that's
good
my
word to
opinion.
define it.
that's my opinion on it. Tragic.
It's
Yeah.
always been hard to fill tournaments too. Like even at the very beginning, like I organized some of the very first tournament, for example, at Polyland. In 2017 we had the first one. That's when I had stopped playing as a semi-pro because that was taking too much time. And I went into the organizational part, and it was always a mess because I never had like we always were like, oh, we will open it to 20 teams, and we never had 20 teams.
Yeah.
I think the most teams I had were 18. And I've
even in
organized like
Geneva.
over 30 lands. But in Switzerland, the most we had was 18. Even at the Geneva Gaming Convention, where some French team came because we had a very high cash prize at the second edition. For an Overwatch tournament, obviously. Some French people came to get pocket money. And they did it well. And yeah, definitely we also had only 18 teams at that moment. We technically didn't fill the tournament.
Yeah,
And it was
unfortunately,
even less.
Swiss esport in general, not just Overwatch, is always stagnant. Like there was always the same people playing. Rarely there are roster changes, new people coming in, and that is probably one of the reasons why not only Overwatch but many games are struggling to grow. So
I mean, like, thing is, I don't want to be the one. How do you say? If the old players still perform well at some certain point, then why replace them? It's like the same. Like, obviously, there's a new talent, and everything always gonna come around. But the way to prove yourself is to actually just prove yourself. If you still get diffed by by the older players, then you still have to work on yourself. It's not the older players' fault.
For
They have-
years,
they have more
I
experience.
always knew my top 3 in all my tournaments. Always knew my top 3. Sometimes had a small doubt between first and second place, or second and third. Sometimes, yeah. Most of the time, like I would check the list even before it even started. I was like, okay, that's gonna be my top 3 for the tournament.
Yeah, but just to explain, what I said was not to blame the old player. It's just to like explain why it's so difficult to get more interest from both sponsors and new people to come in the scene, because it always feels very much not a welcoming place for new people. Even though I don't think anyone in the community is like, oh, we don't want new players, but it sometimes feels hard for new people to join.
Also less interesting in terms of esports. If you look at how leagues are generally managed at a semi-pro or pro level, there's not much dream for a player.
Well,
It's not like, oh, if I try it, I can go into the LFL, for example, for France, and then LEC, I can try something. Like for Overwatch, it's like you can buy a 60 million bucks place for a team that will have only the same players. Sometimes you have a few switches, but like the ecosystem that Blizzard created for the Overwatch is terrible. Like they could have done so well, but they killed StarCraft 2. They killed World of Warcraft with the arenas. They had like a huge potential. They messed it. They messed with StarCraft. They messed with Hearthstone. They killed it a few months ago, and they messed with Overwatch.
Yeah.
They messed with Heroes of the Storm as well. For Blizzard and esport, it's not very attractive for new players because you don't have much dreams.
Yeah.
Like also
But it's
in
the
terms of
classic-
communication, like look at what Riot is doing. Valve around all the tournaments, Blast, ESL, and all, and you compare it to Overwatch League. I don't follow some of the games and some competitions, but I still see more about those competitions than Overwatch League that
Yeah.
I'm supposed to be following. Like
I also think a big problem is that a lot of new players coming to the scene are still not high ranked, like let's say Diamond, and then they grind up and slowly get better, but not good enough to compete in the highest stage, and then they give up fast because like they don't see a point in working more on themselves.
I think a lot of people are just way too impatient.
Yeah.
Because how do you say? Let's
Hey,
say 10% of actually, or let's say 90% of actually getting into pro play is that little jump at the top of the level. The other 10% is grinding up to that level, but 90% is literally that little drop. Because just from my experience, I needed 3 years to get into contenders, while I was already playing in top 500 / top 100 for roughly 3 years. And I needed just that's where most of my grinding came, just in those 3 years. That actually, and then afterwards I got a decent shot, I got good connections, and then I asked for a trial, and then I got into a contenders team. Like, people don't want to put in the work, but they want results. That's the sad thing about nowadays.
Yeah. As a example, like in my team, I had to rebuild it like 4 times or 3 times until now, and I saw people go and come, and after 4 years, I reached masters right now. So like I'm not even at the highest point. I'm not even good or whatever, but I'm getting higher. I'm working for it, but like 10 to 15 people stopped playing the game while I was grinding up. Because of
I stopped
results.
grinding in season 4 of Overwatch 1, and then I started playing for fun. Like my goal in Overwatch was to reach GM back then, because I was not an FPS girl at all. I mean, I had played for 10 years on World of Warcraft. I mean, I played FPS on the PlayStation 2, so you know, when I first arrived on Overwatch, I would be very good at drawing your shape on a wall, but not at touching you.
Oh, nice.
And then I try harded because I was like, I really want to be able to be GM. That would be lovely. And in season 4, I reached it. That's the season I really try hardest the most. And like I played so much. Like, and now I'm like, I'll play for fun. I'll play with friends. because then it's too much of a hassle. But it was the beginning of the game also, and I felt like it was. I don't know. I like the competition more. You still had toxic people, but I felt like the people were much more open back then. It was less of a bother to be a woman in a competitive environment. And then like the switch, like I have the impression that more and more young players came,
The
and
league
it
players
was
started
more and
playing
more
Overwatch.
less. Yeah. Like after 2 years, I stopped joining voice communication at all. Like it's very rare. Lux can confirm. Like we played sometimes, and like some people, like I snapped at the French guy once. You know, that's like a French specialty. It's like to insult people in French, and they don't always spot with my accent that I'm not that I'm actually speaking French. And I like to translate when they insult people in French, then also, because I feel like they're so powerful that they can insult people in French and they won't understand. And I'm like, just in case. That's what he said. But yeah, it was much less toxic at the very beginning. I feel like list.
Probably because the community didn't go through the hardships of bad metas, unchanging stuff, and Blizzard mistakes.
Yeah, because the game was actually fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they didn't have to blame other people for their loss.
But
yeah.
the game is fun now. Hopefully that will keep getting better.
Yeah, if Blizzard doesn't fuck up again.
They've been on a good decision streak, let's say.
Yeah.
I mean, yes.
Not for the moment.
It's not enough, but it's good stuff in a way, kind of.
I mean, they're trying at least.
Yeah.
That's.
I want more.
Yeah, what better? But
they're getting there, it seems.
With that, I think we can conclude the live. We've been going for over an hour. I think we covered all the topics. As a reminder for the viewers that are still watching, if you want to help out the World Cup, you can submit your candidature as a volunteer. I'll write down the comment in chat so you can get the link. I'm sure any help you can give will be greatly appreciated for them. They're doing an amazing job as they are right now, and surely with more people they can be even better. And if you guys have anything else you want to add, here just place.
Hauptschwitz.
Hauptschwitz. Then
yeah.
Yes, Jörgeli?
for Watchpoint stuff,
sure.
still coming stuff. The next projects are Polygon, right?
Yes.
The next weekend, and after the Polygon, there will be the next PUX at the 14th of April. So I'm gonna clear everything in the Excel later and make the announcement also there. But if you see the calendar, if you have time, and join us there, then this time it will be real PUX, not like yesterday.
Yeah.
Yesterday was fun though.
Well, you were just at the end. You were just at the end.
Hey, what happened?
We had some wacky game modes.
Yeah, it was my April Fool's Day. I could make it a little bit frustrating for the people there.
Fair enough.
Yes. Then thanks Slays, Gibson, and Jörgeli for coming with me on the live. Thanks for everyone in the chat, and have a good night.
Have a good night. Cheers.
Have a good one.
Bye, guys.
Cheers.
Thanks for joining.
Bye.